Andrew Ridgeley, good morning and welcome to Sunday Morning.
Thank you, Nicki. Hi.
And I'm so sorry that Michael's not here to see you this morning, but you've got me for one day only.
Yes.
Pop-up chappers.
More than adequate stand-in.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Lovely to have you here.
Thank you.
So how does it feel? You know, you're 40 years down the line, or it's actually 41 years down the line, isn't it?
Yeah,
but
40 years last year.
Does it feel like yesterday?
In some ways, yeah, it does. And yet it is a lifetime or more for some. But yeah, my recollections of the halcyon days are very, very clear.
And did you think way back when that you would be talking about this so far down the line, still so successful, and a whole generation of people discovering Wham?
Yeah, I don't know that we could ever have really looked forward 40 years and perhaps imagined that the music would have endured and still have the kind of same potency for people, both those who grew up with it in their youth and to some youngsters today. It is testament to the for me the quality of the music, the energy, the vibrancy, the youthfulness that it embodies. That being the reason why I think it does stand that test of time. It's enduring. That's
right. When we look at you as pop royalty, is that a title that you feel comfortable with? Because that's how we look at you.
It's extremely flattering, I wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't say no to that. But my contemporaries, I used to be with Karen from Bananarama, so I kind of, it's not something, our perception, as it were, we don't really see ourselves in those. I think it's one of those things, actually, that one always has. Pop royalty for me was my icons when I was a kid. So it would have been Elton John, it would have been Queen, Freddie Mercury, it would have been all those the icons. In fact, amusingly, I met Roger Taylor and Mike Rutherford, but both Queen and Jones are huge. Both George and I were huge fans, and I met them at a charity event 2 or 3 years ago, and I'd had a couple of drinks, and I got them both in a bear hug. And I met one. I hadn't met Mike before, but I'd met Roger. But I think they were still mildly taken aback.
Lovely. I bet they were absolutely thrilled. So, how are you marking this very special time, this anniversary?
Well, we have got a very nice. Singles we're representing.
It's a box set, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a really nice bit of memorabilia, and it's being released in loads of different formats. So, a lovely 7-inch vinyl box set, which comes in one of those little 7-inch carry cases that you used to have. It's really dinky and really nice. There's CDs and there are albums, colour albums, Zoetrope, vinyl. The boat has been pushed out.
Any cassettes in there?
Yeah. There is, yeah. There's a cassette.
I am of that generation, by the way, obviously.
There is a cassette. Yeah, there's a cassette of the 12-inch mixes in the 7-inch edition. Yes, for those, do they actually still exist? I think I have got one.
Well, who would have thought we'd be playing vinyl so much and embracing vinyl? Because 10, 15, even 20 years ago, everyone said it's absolutely finished. So, this is a real collector's item.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I think I remember having the conversation when CDs and certainly when MP3s came out with a friend of mine saying, I don't get it because part of listening, the experience was having that cover, especially a gatefold, wonderful gatefolds like Captain Fantastic and the Brown Cowboy, Elton John, and was I think Sgt. Pepper's was a bit before me, but the Beatles Sgt. Pepper's,
yeah.
that may have been a gatefold originally as well. That was part of the experience of immersing yourself in the music and the record, and a lot of work went into those things. It was all part of the kind of the concept that the artist was endeavouring to convey. So when that part went, and you couldn't even see who wrote the song on an MP3, it just diminishes for me the experience of listening to music.
You want it to be aesthetically pleasing. I mean, I can remember on a Saturday morning saving up my pocket money, racing out to buy my single of the week, because I probably could only afford one at the time, and it was such a big deal. So this is going to evoke so many memories. And at the same time, it brings me along to the fashion of the time, because you and George, you really were at the forefront of that. You were two young, very attractive guys. You still are. But also fashion played such a big part of it. But it seemed to me, and I know that, you've always been very stylised, it didn't seem, now how can I say this nicely, Andrew, contrived. It seemed very organic.
It was very amateur. Is what it was. I mean, famously, we had to share our clothes for shoots, because we had, I think I had one, maybe two tops shirts, and we shared jeans and we shared shirt. I think George actually wore shirtless jeans at one point. It was really Heath Robinson. We had zero cash. The record company didn't give us any, and we wore what we had. And I remember when I was at college, and the sixth form college, I used to get my clothes from Sue Ryder. And the first clothes that we ever had made it was a complete disaster. We managed to get hold of them about 3 hours before our flight to the States. It was our first visit to the States, and we wanted stage outfits, and all it was a sort of a designer version of the denim that we'd been wearing, and we tried them on in the loos when we landed at New York, and it was an absolute disaster. It was nothing fitted. It was all hewn. It was all, oh my God.
Can you imagine One Direction going through that? The world has slightly changed, but I love the fact. I mean, this is a very, very big year. Obviously, we've got the box set coming out. There's also a celebration special coming out on BBC Radio 2 as well that you're heavily involved with.
Yes, the Radio 2 is having a Wham and GM weekend, I believe.
Now, is this the fan stories? That's what's going to be coming through?
Yes, I certainly hope so. I think that's part of it. And perhaps also a contemporary, some of our contemporaries contributing. I'm not quite sure, but it'd be nice if there were some of those voices.
And the rumour mill goes into overdrive, a Netflix documentary as well?
There is a Netflix documentary coming out on the 5th of July, and it is the definitive and official account, televisual account of Wham.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and it's extremely well put together, as it were, conceived by the director Chris Smith.
I'm not quite sure how he managed it, but producer Steve has had a sneak preview, and he said he got really emotional when he watched it. Yeah,
it's it's powerful because it is. It's authentic, and it is essentially the laying bare of the essence of Wham.
Wonderful. Oh, we can't wait. That's coming out. So Radio 2 got some specials coming out in June. That's coming out in July. But we do have something very special lined up for you. I'm going to welcome into the studio Jim and Stephanie Gilchrist, who met as members, are you ready for this, of a Wham tribute band. I nearly gave it away at the top of the interview, 25 years ago. They cannot believe they're going to meet you. But first, here's the debut hit, which started it all. Of course, Wham, Young Guns, go for it. Our special guest this morning is Andrew Ridgeley, and we're delighted to welcome Jim and Stephanie to the studio. Good morning.
Hello.
Jim.
Hi.
Now, a very exciting time, because this is the first time you have met your hero, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes, yeah.
So come on then, tell us, why is Wham so special to the two of you?
Okay, so for the two of us, Wham is the reason that we met, and 25 years later, so our 26th anniversary being together, and it brought us together because I auditioned for Jim's band, And if it wasn't for auditioning for a Wham tribute band, we would never have met. We wouldn't be here together 26 years in December married.
Aww.
And we wouldn't have 2 children. Thomas, who's 9.
George and Andrew.
I really wanted George and Andrew, but I was told, I wasn't.
Enough's enough.
And we have Edward. And Edward, who's 7, and who... they absolutely adore Wham as well.
Cool.
Wonderful. And what was the band called, Jim?
Wham Duran. Well, it was Wham Duran. It was actually Wham Duran was in existence, and we drafted in a guy called Rob Lamberti to come and front it, who's now you've probably heard of him.
Yeah.
And he was sort of fronting it for a while, and then we decided what would be really good was if we just had a George Michael tribute as well to offer people. So we did that, and that particular time was when Stephanie came and auditioned for that band and got the gig.
And Stephanie, you met George twice, didn't you? But you've never met Andrew.
No, I haven't.
So come on, what would you like to ask him? I can hear you're a bit breathy, aren't you?
I started crying when out in the green room when you put Young Guns on, and then it's just very overwhelming for me, and I knew I'd get emotional, so I do apologise. Sorry. I have asked Andrew several questions on his Instagram when he's done live feeds, so I have asked him, will there ever be a Wham! The Final video that's released? But you did give me the answer.
Yeah,
or share it with us.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not sure that there will, because it was only ever shot. The footage was only ever shot on video for the internal monitors, the internal screens, and so therefore it's not really film grade. So I don't think it will be. But who knows with technology at some point. I mean, Peter, who's the famous New Zealand producer, Lord of the Rings, Tom. Come on, someone help me. Help me out.
I'm looking behind the glass now.
He recreated the First World War footage, didn't he?
Yes.
So who knows?
Oh, yes.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But and I think the audio exists, so we might be able to. Yeah. I would love to, I must say, but it would need to be the right sort of quality to be able to actually.
Of course, and technology has changed so much further down the line, hasn't it? Yeah. But I mean, it's a massive year because there's so much going on to celebrate 40 years of Wham. Come on, Jim, this is your opportunity. Any questions for Andrew?
Well, again, likewise with Stephanie, I have asked questions. I suppose I was wondering if Andrew remembered the fact that many years, early 90s, Andrew had a restaurant in Rickmansworth, and I think it was only us, one band that played there. I might be wrong with that, but there never seemed to be any other. But we did have a band. It wasn't a Wham tribute band. It was like a 60s soul thing, R&B, and often Andrew would come in at the end of the night. But I did wonder if he could ever. Did
you want David's my chum Dave's birthday as well? Yeah,
yes. All of them off now.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's all coming back, isn't it?
I don't know if that's where we stemmed from in terms of then appearing at 92s. I couldn't remember because it's too long ago now.
It could be one way or the other. But I do remember.
Yes, I remember now. Yeah, I remember you turning up.
Yeah, because yours was one of the best bands around.
Praise
High praise. What can I say? Thank you very much.
And Wham brought you two together, but what do you think the enduring appeal is? I mean, there's a whole TikTok channel now, isn't there, devoted to Wham? We're having so many parodies. Your video as well has just been recently parodied by Lewis Capaldi. What do you think?
Homaged.
Homage. Yes. And it was brilliant as well. I thought it was very fun.
Extraordinarily well done.
It was very well done. But what do you think it is as huge fans? It brought you two together, but why do you think 40 years down the line we are just so in love with everything to do with Wham?
I think it's the construction of the songs and what amazing songs that they are. I think they're, last night, for instance, I was downstairs and my 2 children were upstairs, and all I can hear coming from their bedroom is they're singing Bad Boys. And I just think that it's the construction of the songs, the melodies, the catch, everything. I mean, there were. I mean, I went through a phase of having to recreate backing tracks for all of these songs, for among others, Rob Lamberti, who initially used them. And yes, it was a real insight into how much work had gone into them. Also, I had the good fortune of meeting up with Hugh Burns,
that we know from a mutual friend, Dario Cortes. And we met, and one of the reasons...
Hugh was one of our guitarists who played with us through, well, for the majority actually, post the Wham Fantastic, a good friend and an immeasurably brilliant musician.
Yes, absolutely. And we went into detail because I was talking about reconstructing, I think it was The Edge of Heaven, and the detail that went into just the guitar sound, for the solo. Because it was used on...
We're going to be going for hours here, aren't we?
It was created on equipment that you can't kind of get anymore and stuff. So it's just very, very difficult to recreate. But yeah, but the songs, the construction of the actual pieces of music, they're brilliant pop songs, absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I mean, they most of them were extremely simple.
Yes, but that's often
GM had an unerring knack for melody. And that really is the thing, that they're the hooks, that's what.
And I also want to bring in Pepsi and Shirley, because I don't know about you, Stephanie, but I always felt that I wanted to be in that gang.
Completely.
And, you're still the best of friends, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm seeing Shirley soon.
Yeah.
We're going to do some...
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, Stephanie said. We all felt like it was, a gang hanging out together, and we could be in that gang.
Absolutely. And for me, the amazing thing is, and still gigging with Wham Duran now, I get to wear the bubble, the puffball skirts, and recreate them as one. And I'm there. I'm Pepsi and Shirley, and I ensure as well for when I do the dance routines that if you watch a Wham video, I am recreating those Wham the dance routines, the choreography for it all as well.
And there's everybody in the audience copying you.
I try to get them to, and there are people that are obviously fans like myself that do the same. So,
do you have another gal with you?
No, it's just me, channeling both of them.
Oh, wow. It's all down to economics. We used to have a live brass section as well. But if people are prepared to pay the money, get the full thing. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, it's been tight of recent years.
Hopefully, the good times will be coming towards us, and you'll be able to expand the offer.
Yes,
mind you, not the one needs to. The 70's gorgeous.
Oh, thanks.
Your faces
say I'll pay you later.
Honestly, your faces were an absolute picture as you walked through the door. You took a moment before you actually sat down, wasn't it? Because you're here with Andrew. I mean, a very busy year, so congratulations. But also on a personal level, you're getting fitter. Well, you're fit anyway. We know you love your cycling, but you've got a big event coming up, haven't you?
Yeah, as it's my 60th year.
I wasn't going to mention that, but I said earlier, a big year for you. But yes. 60 in Jan, and this January past. And I decided to mark it with cycling from John O'Groats to Land's End with some of my good friends, a lot of my good friends in actual fact. One of whom lost his daughter. She took her own life in November 21. He asked me if he could make it fundraising on his part, and I said of course, and I said I'd give it profile, and so we are attaching that fundraising element for Papyrus Prevention of Young Suicide, which has touched us and touches an awful lot of people. I know that you spoke about it to me a little earlier, and surprising amount of people who have been affected by it either directly or indirectly, and it's an unspeakable tragedy, and so Papyrus do great work, and to support those bodies that endeavour to make life more bearable for anyone going through those problems is one of the things that I'm keen on doing. Yeah, absolutely. And you'll be giving updates on your social media as well, on your social media page for that. Yeah, so there'll be, we have a link to the Papyrus page on my social media accounts. And so those that are interested will be able to follow our ups and downs, literally and metaphorically, through the Well, we wish 10 days. And the team all the very best. Thank you. Yes, I'm meeting my support team. We're having our big meeting this afternoon. All the best with that. Thank you. A great cause. And Stephanie and Jim, thank you so much for coming in today. How exciting.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, thank you so much
for having us.
And also got to mention Wham, the singles Echoes from the Edge of Heaven vinyl box set, which I'm sure you've put your order in.
Absolutely.
Oh, good girl. And various other formats. It's out on the 7th of July, available to pre-order now, as Stephanie so beautifully said for us. And I think we need to end on Wake Me Up Before You Go, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you all so much. Andrew Ridgeley, what a treat.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, now I'm going to be honest. You might have noticed I got all flustered at the top of the interview. It's not every day you get to meet Andrew Ridgeley. A massive thank you to Stephanie and Jim for coming in as well. And Andrew has given me a little keyring, a Wham keyring specially to celebrate the new box set. Thank you, Andrew.